Hello, everybody. I am so thrilled to be here with Sarah Springer. She is such a love and such a beautiful woman inside and out, and she's going to share more about her journey with us today. Sarah, first, could you introduce yourself? Just share like where you're from and a little bit about you.
Yes, hi. I live in Texas now. I'm originally from New Jersey, so I'm kind of a transplant, but I was raised in Texas when I was younger, went to high school and everything in New Jersey, and then came back down to Texas. So I live about west of Fort Worth in a nice little area. I have a couple kids, and I live with my boyfriend. We have a dog, so we just have like a little nice little quaint house, and we just kind of live outside of a city area.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. And Sarah, tell me a little bit more about, you started working with me, I think in early November or late October. I can't remember the exact specifics. But tell me a little bit about, what inspired you to do this work together.
Well, I have notes here too because I know I've got a lot to say, but there was so much inspiration. I think I was getting emails from you. I signed up. I'm not even sure how I found you a long time ago. So I was reading emails that would come up, and I was in a committed relationship. So I kind of was like, well, putting in all my effort into that relationship and not really thinking about dating. So it wasn't, but then something clicked. I read an email, I think in October, and then touched base for your call. And so I was really inspired because at the time I had been in the relationship for a while, been in previous relationships, and was just really kind of unsettled about where I was headed with it on my own. So I really wanted guidance. I didn't want to go to a traditional therapist or counseling with my partner. I didn't want to do any of that, but I was having so much resistance, and I was I needed a change of the way I was functioning, like on a day-to-day basis in the relationship, and then just on my own, thinking about men, and just how I was, as wanting what I really wanted my future. And it was just, I had a really good opportunity with my partner, but I really didn't want to ruin it or make it go down a wrong road anyway. So I was having a hard time, just I needed the change of functioning. And I was also feeling really down about myself, just kind of ruminating about past. And I wanted to convey that so much to my partner, and explain, kind of giving him background and stuff about me, but it was just making me feel more stuck and lethargic versus helping. And then he wanted to help, and it wasn't really helping. And then I felt like just real self-critical, or just having a hard time feeling vulnerable with that, without feeling like, oh, I was such a victim. And we were just kind of clashing in that way, in some ways. So and then I just realized that I was being so self-critical, and that was making me really kind of lash out to my kids, and my partner, and the people that I love dearly. I didn't want to do that any longer, and I was just kind of numbing out. And so I was just inspired to make that change for myself in terms of healing. I realized that there was something that I needed to just heal again. And I thought I had done that in my 20s. And then I had the children and all that. And just a big change being a mother and having my kids get older, I started realizing that they really depend on me for love and safety. And I really didn't feel like I was armed with all that where I needed to be the next level, especially with my kids. Easy to take care of the babies, when they're little. It's so easy to just, you're taking care of them, you're changing them, you're feeding them. But as an 8-year-old and 11-year-old, they have different emotional needs. So I wanted to change my love for myself so I could, help them. And I just wanted to feel more empowered than victimized. I don't want to keep like having that thread of like, oh, I'm a victim, I've had such a bad, horrible, all kinds of stuff. I wanted to feel more empowered. So participating in the Queens of Pleasure group was the next step in my life, because it was all about me. It wasn't so much about how I'm gonna, it's like change myself, and then that's gonna wrap around that love with my kids and my partner. So when I had the first call with you, I was really inspired to just really participate in this group, because it was going to be all about me.
Yes, and I'm so inspired by you because I feel your level of devotion to your children and to your partner and to being your best self and being a woman of love and taking the time to release the things that aren't serving you and aren't helping you. And what a beautiful gift, not only to yourself and your partner, but also to your daughter and your son, that they get to feel and experience you as being, emotionally resilient and loving and all of those things that you were before, but just other stuff was getting in the way. So it's so beautiful to hear your story and how it's impacting lots of people in your life.
Thank you. Yeah, it has.
Yes. And tell me, a bit about where you are now, like the journey and how you show up differently for yourself and how that's been relationship.
So, now, I now it really feels, there's a whole difference. I have a couple of things I wrote down about,
Yeah.
how I feel now. The changes that I've made within myself are different. What I was doing before, I've taken measures for like total self care. Whereas I was doing that before, I love certain things. We talked about the list of pleasure things, but really the things that I was thinking were pleasurable were really kind of self destructive, and they weren't really cultivating like a true sense of pleasure. It really wasn't bringing me connection in my heart, and like it made me feel, just things that I was thinking, oh, well, I love doing that. It wasn't really, it was just a difference. So now seeing that there's different techniques and things that I've learned through the program, now I can take those take those measures for self-care, true self-care, and learn about the pleasure that really heals, not numbs me out or, destructs my heart and all that kind of stuff. So it's brought me a new aspect of feeling loved and also receiving love, because that was a big roadblock for me before, was receiving love. I felt defensive every time I received love. It was, and I realized that I was teaching other people that, like, oh, he gave you flowers, what did he do? Uh-oh, and that was so not where it was coming from. So receiving love was a big roadblock for me. And or getting a card, I'm like, what's wrong? Why? What? I couldn't get that. Oh, this is a generous, so now it's a difference. Just holding healthy boundaries and realizing that, instead of calling a family member or old friend or someone who's having relationship problems anyways, or who's like, hey, I'm always here for you to talk, they really didn't have my best interest in mind. It was kind of like, in the way of healing. And so I've learned how to just block that stuff out and realize that all that stuff comes from within. So I need to like pick up the phone and call my sister or call an old friend who has marital problems also, or whatever, who I'm trying to find a link to. It's those things are just totally, if I want to call my friend to say, hi, how are you? It's different. Or if I want to call my sister, it's different. So that's been a huge change. And I've learned just better verbal communication, being able to speak up for my needs and put myself out vulnerably and not feel like demanding and saying, you know what? This is a deal breaker. Everything I have is a deal breaker. I'm like, if I don't get this, then I'm done, and so just learning how to soften that feeling, and knowing that it's okay that I have those needs and all those things are wonderful, but just being able to verbally and non-verbally hopefully can, communicate those things. So just taking that self-care time, and I really enjoy that because I really reconnect easier now with myself than before. I was like, a lot of self-critical, or I'd go and work out as hard as I could, as long as I could, and just it wasn't really that touching that feminine side of me. I love working out, but before it was a different, there's a lot of things I was doing that weren't really connecting with that feminine need that I have. So that's been a big difference.
You said so many amazing things in there, Sarah. I loved it. I just was having light bulbs go off again and again because when you said, the pleasure that heals, that is such a good way to say that. It's like, it's okay to have little pleasures, but it's more important to have the pleasures that really touch our heart and touch our soul and heal us and help us become, who we know that we're meant to be. And so I love the way you said that and that you highlighted that. And also that you made the distinction around going within to do the work versus, looking to someone who wants to just commiserate with us. It's like, no, I can go within, I can set healthy boundaries, and then I can bring a more effective part of myself to my partner and ask for those needs and ask for those wants and from a place of softness. So I'm just so proud of you. It's
Thank
so
you.
exciting to hear you and
Thank you.
how much you've grown.
I really feel it. And, I also feel so, I think it's just this security, that, that I was missing. I really needed security. And I didn't realize, the more I've had these talks with you and with Tamara, learning that safety and security feeling, is so vital. And I was really not feeling that way. You know, I was feeling like, uh-oh, you know, I'm in love, and now this is immediately not going to feel safe, or it's going to be a rocky road. You know, I just never had that safety, security, like, you know, so it's just a whole different vision. But you know, and that's the thing, that the love, when you get so excited about love, then I was like, well, that's what I'm in, you know, I really want that. But now it's just night and day difference for me. You know, love wasn't, it's not as scary, you know, as I was making it out to be. But
Mhm.
I kind of had learned that, and connecting with all those different things, that this is what you've learned, this is why you've, you know. But now it's like, you know, I'm just very fortunate to have the love that I have with my partner, and be able to, like, you know, really give this out instead of ruin it. You know, so I feel really fortunate to have all these skills to keep using.
And that's, yeah, and that's such a good point, you know, is we need to learn how to love, of course, when we're dating and finding a partner, but we also need to learn how to love when we're in a great relationship, because we have these patterns that are sometimes decades old, and until we're aware of them and healing them and connecting with ourselves and our partner, they can kind of be lurking in the background. And now that's not there, because you've rewritten your beliefs and your story, and you're able to receive, and you're able to trust your partner, and able to feel safe, and able to communicate when you're not feeling safe, and then he can adjust and change, because he wants to love you, you know. And a lot of women sometimes don't believe that, because they've been through so much pain in the past. So you've really overcome those limiting beliefs and totally rewired your brain, rewired your belief system around love, and it's so inspiring. I love that.
Thank you.
And then, were there times during the process where, you know, it was a bit challenging, and how did you get through that?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of challenge for me. And you know what? I think that having the course, the way it was structured, the timeline was really essential for me, because I could drag it out, you know. And I was like, okay, I've got these dates, and this is what I'm doing. So having the timeline was what helped me get through any challenges. But I did feel, you know, just, and having the practices too was like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. Why am I not doing it? So having that, the practices to say, you know, when you're feeling this way, this is what you need to do. I needed exact direction. I needed to know that you're a text away, or a phone call away, or an email, or, you know, Elizabeth or anybody. That I was just, you know, needing that connection with the course. I wasn't just out there on my own. So I think what I really needed when I was feeling challenged, I know I got it, but I was also internally feeling some resistance. Like at first, I was just like, okay, you know, I felt resistance within myself to start the practices when I was feeling upset or in a funk or about something, because it was just a difference. And I still wanted to do it my way. And so when I did the practices, or if I was upset or in a funk or something like that, I was just like, you know what, that feels so much better. And then so that change happened when I committed to the practices. And then I found it also challenging, like for a while, and I still do, it's still challenging, but it's getting better, but to speak up for my needs to my partner. So instead of just creating like a conflict around my needs, because that's like, I'm like almost, you know, instead of coming like, oh God, this is going to hurt, or he might not, you know, it could turn into a fight. That fear of like, oh, I can't deal with another conflict or shutdown. I need that connection is bad, because I need the vulnerability. You know, I didn't want the conflict, so I was just yeah, whatever. So that was, you know, it's a challenge to speak up for the needs, but I felt it. You know, it's easier. Sometimes you just have to do it and feel vulnerable. So that's kind of realizing that is okay, because men want that vulnerability. So then when you're open, then you can kind of get through that. Then I also felt the challenge was the inner child work, and you know, there's like a lot of deep pain in there. And then I'm like, now I love it. And now it's like, I tend to that in the adult self, and realizing that there's a way to regulate that instead of avoiding that or ignoring that, and just being like, you're a grown woman now. You've got to be a grown up. You constantly have to be a grown up. It's like, you can still have that. You can tend to your inner child. And, you know, just, it's changed that way of my perception for myself, loving myself in a more tender way. So that was at first really, really hard, but yeah, it got easier though.
I'm so happy just, yeah, I'm so happy hearing about your commitment to yourself, committing to yourself that you're going to do the practices, and you know, you showed up on so many of the calls, even though you have a busy schedule and 2 kids and a partner and all of that. Like, you really showed up for yourself and you kept going even when it wasn't easy. And that level of commitment just ripples out into all of your relationships and really creates a lot of strength and solidness that you can come back to, that foundation that you have. So that's so exciting to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, and just carving out that time. And there was times, getting on the calls, I felt so much better. And reaching out with the group and the ladies and you and Tamara, I was just like, nope, it's Friday. I've got to do this. And I missed a call by mistake one day, and I was like, oh my, it was so funny how it really changed my day. I was like, I really look forward to that. But then, oops, we have a recorded call. So just having those resources were able to help me through those too.
Yeah. Well, you were really resourceful. You found a way to make it happen, even if you missed the call, to listen to the recording. And I hope you don't mind me sharing, but one of the things that I thought was really brilliant is that a few weeks ago, you had a difficult time with a partner and you made it work. You were like, you know what? I know how to get through this. You didn't even reach out to me, although I would have been here for you over text if you had, you just said like, yep, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to do the practices. I'm going to speak my needs. I'm going to be in touch with myself and be vulnerable and come back to my pleasure. And you guys handled it. Like, you're self-sufficient now. You're, flying and riding without training wheels and just going for it. And it's a key skill and trait and characteristic that now you have that for life, like knowing how to navigate a rough patch in relationship and get back into alignment and back into connection is so amazing.
Yeah. And it's because we've had those couple calls, but, really, I want to be able to apply stuff. I want to be able to say, I can do this. This is really what I needed, was just, here's what you need to do. Here's exact directions. Here's, and that's the course, that's the course that's helped me get that confidence. So, yeah.
Yes. Well, it's been my pleasure. Do you have any other shares about, for anyone who might be thinking of this or who's struggling in their relationship, or just anything else that you want to highlight about your journey?
I do. I have a couple of little things that, when I ask the question to myself, like, what did I learn from this? And why would I recommend this to somebody, and how I'd love to share this with so many people. But it really helped me, if I kind of feel twofold. Fortunately, I had my partner that I found before this, and I wasn't so sure, because before that, I think you and I were talking, I was telling you that I was dating, and I'd been, living on my own for a while, doing a lot on my own without a man in my life, and, started dating again. And I was like, you know what? It's hit or miss. Like, I could either date somebody and just kind of keep that separate from my kid's life, or I could end up finding somebody that I could be, family man, which I doubted. I was like, I doubt it, because I was just so fear about that. And so fortunately, finding Howard was, amazing. He was my neighbor. We lived next door to each other for a while before we moved in together. So we got to know each other as friends. And so the confidence for me was to think, look around, once listening to some of the other ladies, like, dating and looking and stuff like that, looking around the people who are around you every day, like your neighbor, or, something like that. Whereas it took us a while, because we were good being friends. We had a good friendship, and we weren't even thinking about a love interest nor moving together. We weren't even thinking about that. Then my lease was up. So it was it came up. But so that's the one thing that I found. But fortunately, I found this course with him, because when I finally found somebody I wasn't even really looking for at the time, it's really helped me, create a long lasting relationship with him, instead of letting it just run its course, or feeling like, oh, all that crazy chaos. So this course, I think, would be really, really helpful for people, even in a new relationship, or one that's been married for 10 years plus, to relearn those things about yourself. But also, I've learned how to love, integrate my love and my heart, which I wasn't realizing that was such a big, huge need, and learn how to speak my truths and not keep that negative loop going, where I've been able to say, well, you know what, the truth is this, the truth is that. And I'm able to say that to, like, my daughter, who's in 6th grade. And I'm like, Abby, the truth is, you're a great friend, and I've been able to say that to Justin, my little son. The truth is, you're a great boy, because they have a lot of those negative thoughts, and I'm able to go, oh my gosh, hopefully we can teach this stuff through living with the kids. And I've also learned about my sensuality more, in the ways that I really hadn't known before. And so, and just being in that vulnerable state of mind that it's totally okay to be a vulnerable woman, not be some independent warrior, badass, like I've got to do it all. I don't need a man, because we don't. It's nice to have that though. And when you do have the right man, it's also nice to be able to feed that love to the right man, and not, create tension that's unnecessary. So I recommend it for people totally in a relationship to give it to themselves, to learn about this, to be a better partner for their man, or whichever partner they're with, before they date, and even after, if they're already in a committed relationship.
Yes, I totally agree, obviously, because I keep using these tools for myself with Jason as well, and it makes our relationship better and better. And anytime I feel a little bit off, I can come back to them and make sure that we get back on track. And he's open to learning too. And Howard is the same. So before we wrap up, I was curious. This was not a prepared question, so I'm kind of coming out of left field. But do you mind sharing what's your favorite thing right now about your relationship? Like, what's lighting you up about your relationship, or what are you grateful for about your relationship right now?
I'm definitely grateful for being with somebody who's super understanding, and also, has that growth mindset, and the fact that we can really not only just link arms with just being in love, but just being in like huge open communication, and we love spending our time together, which helps. We really genuinely love spending time together. We're really good companions, and that he's so attentive. So being attentive makes me feel like, this really special person, and it makes me want to be just as attentive back to him, and that there aren't any darkness, places that we're hiding from. We're both just all in, in the relationship, and that gives us that chance to grow and be adventurous together, and have just that sense of total freedom, where this love that we have, we could just see growing and growing. Even though it's an overwhelming feeling, it's still a really great feeling. It's, just a really good feeling that there's so much, the love is so generous right now. So
That warms my heart. Yeah, I'm so happy for the two of you. He's got a really great woman, and you have found a great partner as well, and it makes my heart sing. And it's so nice then for your children to feel that, and to see that, and to know what it's like to be with two people who really love each other and are committed to making it work.
Yeah, that's the big bonus, is that, for me, having the two kids, that they get to see their mom being so loved is like the biggest gift. For a while, I just didn't realize it. And, I thought that's why I didn't want to stay in the relationship I was, because I was like, no, anyway, they need to see that their mommy's lovable, and that, my kids, you should see my kids with him. They love him. He loves them. This huge, like, thing of love that we all have. It's really remarkable. I don't, that we've created that. So, the creation that creating a family, even though it's a blended family, we still created that. We work at it, and we create that love. So, it's definitely doable.
It is. And I'm so inspired by you. And I'm so grateful that you shared your heart and your time and your energy. And I'm so excited to continue to support you through the alumni group. And of course, over text and email and all of that. And have so much love for you and Howard and your children. And I'm just really touched that you said yes to yourself when you could have just said, no, I think it'll be okay. You said, no, I don't want to leave anything to chance. My life, my time, my energy, my own self-care, my relationships are too important. So we're just really, really proud of you, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
I think I've covered it. I'm just really, really, I feel so good and supported, and that's just, I feel like I have just like that real strong backbone and foundation. So I can't thank you enough. And just the happiness and joy you've brought to me as a person, and just knowing that, I have such a great mentor in my life, and it's just been really amazing. It's been a really amazing, huge change for me.
Well, it's my pleasure. And now you get to start 2019 in such a luscious, yummy, open-hearted, and strong place. And just excited to see how everything travels and expands and unfolds from there. So thank you, Sarah. Sending so much love to you.
Thank you.
And yeah, I will see you soon. Mwah.
Okay.
Thank you again. And as we wrap up, I just wanted to mention, if anyone's watching this and they are dating someone, or maybe are in a relationship, or even if you're single and you know that you want that level of receptivity to love and being connected to your body and your sensuality and your femininity, and you know that it'll help your friendships or your relationships with your children or just your relationship with yourself, you can go to violetlang.com/talk and set up a free Breakthrough to Love session like Sarah was mentioning. When Sarah was mentioning the breakthrough call, that's the first conversation that we had, and you'll get lots of value from that and just kind of see what's been going on in your love life and what you really want, and what you think is possible is possible. Like, you don't have to sell yourself short. You don't have to minimize or settle. You can have a great love story just like Sarah does. So yeah, you can go to violetlang.com/talk. I'll put that in the comments, and we will go from there. So thank you, Sarah, so
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
I'm going to end the broadcast now.
Okay.